Fucking.
The Dodgers were trailblazers. Playing Jackie wasn't popular. Hate and disrespect were popular, even in law. But the Dodgers were right. They helped power a movement and changed a nation. Their leadership, class, and style of play were the envy of baseball. The Dodger way. But today, the Dodgers are putting it all at risk. On June 16th, a prominent anti-Catholic hate group will be honored on the field. A group that mocks Catholic nuns with vile sexual perversions, pole dances on crosses, blessings with sex toys, even sexualizing the Virgin Mary and the words of Jesus Christ. A fringe group like this? Honored, awarded, celebrated? There is no equality in mocking women religious, no tolerance in hate, no pride in anti-Catholic bigotry. Mocking Christians is not the Dodger way.
Boom, we're already demonetized.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Holy crap.
One ad.
Oh, good night, Hunley.
Oh, I know. It was really nice. Yeah, so we went yellow before you and I appeared on the screen. This is a new record, dude. New record.
Wow. Wow, it's so sad. It really is. I mean, the same thing with Vega's show on Wednesday. I mean, he was demonetized as I introduced my name. I mean, it's just.
Really... he didn't just get demonetized. He had to go through he got demonetized, age restricted.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you had to go through 2 screens to see it.
Yeah, I didn't know they had another one that said white people only could watch this. I mean, they had all kinds of restrictions, age, minorities, censorship. I think I got levels I never even heard of. But this ad, I mean, what the fuck are we going to do? Sorry, might as well blow it off already. Because this ad, I'm watching the game last night against the White Sox here in LA. It was 4-0 White Sox. The game was over. Chris hits a grand slam, 4-4 going into the 7th. And the Dodgers are back in a 4-4 game. And all of a sudden, this commercial comes on. And I'm thinking, oh, it's like a history of the Dodgers Legends commercial. You know what I mean? Yeah, they have it all the time. It looks just like that. And then it changed in the midstream of that commercial. And I went, oh, my God. And the Dodgers took the commercial. I mean, again, it's not like it was on Fox. This was on the Spectrum, on the Dodgers network, $25 billion network. The cable service that owns the Dodgers broadcasting rights here in LA. I was floored watching that last night. Absolutely floored. And tonight there's a group called Lexit, which is a Latino exit organization that's having a protest at Dodger Stadium, parking lot 13, if you know where that is, against the Giants tonight, the hated ones. It's Pride Night. It's drone night. I don't even know what this means. It's attack people in the stands with drones night, combined with Pride Night, having nothing to do with it, which, like I said on Vegas show or whatever show it was on, reminds me of, I did this thing with Greg yesterday in Montgomery on the radio. It reminds me of Yankee Stadium when they had Bat Night and everybody was assaulted by kids and robbed with miniature baseball bats that they had at Yankee Stadium. So a group started wilding, beating people over the head with bats. So the Yankees, the following year, got smart. They combined helmet night with bat night.
Oh,
so if you had the helmet, you could survive the vicious attack with the bat. But tonight, drone night combined with Pride Night. I have no idea what this means. However,
are you going?
No, I'm not going. That's crazy.
Oh, come on. I expect a field report, damn it.
No, I'm not going to this one, but I'm going to be watching it. And I've got people in the stands reporting to me in live time, if that helps you at all. I've got live reporters scattered around the stadium.
Yes, I expect Twitter clips to be.
Yeah. So Lexit, which I didn't know existed, is run by ex-Latino gangbangers. The leader of the group is in a wheelchair from a drive-by shooting. They are reformed gangbangers who are Catholic spiritual people who are conservative now, who have left the Democratic Party. I reached out to the guy to come on the show next week. We'll see if we can hook up with this guy from Lexit. Fascinating organization with different hubs around the country. I did not realize it was that advanced. Kind of like Brexit, and kind of like, what was the other one of people just exiting the Democratic Party?
Well, yeah, Brexit.
Right. This is Lexit. This is Latinos.
I know. No, I got
right now. I got
that was the walk away. There was the walk
away, but this is Lexit. It was pretty
right.
Latinos exiting the Democratic Party. Sure. And listening to Barnes the other day with Barris.
Lexit. That's another one.
Lexit. Yeah, that's it. Right. So it's Lexit. That's where it must come from. Yeah. So these are righteous dudes. Jexit. Okay, you're exiting the Jewish religion. Okay. So I want to see what happens in parking lot 13. I don't know how they're getting up there. Maybe on foot. You got to walk the hill of death to get to the top of the stadium there, to the parking lot from Sunset. But nevertheless, it's got a lot of airplay on this protest tonight. So it's going to be interesting because it's a violent crowd on Friday nights. It really is. That's when they beat the Giant fans to death and shank them in the parking lot traditionally. I'm not even making this up. What are you talking about? This happens all through the season. So you've got drinking Friday night Latino gangbangers who attend the Giant games in mass on Friday night. I think you got fireworks after the game. You have drones flying over the fans. Flown by who? I don't know. I guess you bring your own drone and launch it. Anything can happen tonight. It's going to be one of these just crazy events, and 54,000 people, a complete sellout. Just so you know. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, well, exciting evening.
Exciting evening.
Bob Ruhlman. When YouTube does turn it yellow, any super chats or whatever, we still get them. Other than the 30% commission. Us. This is a perfect lead in, but again, this week, we do have a sponsor, and the sponsors, it really helps us out a lot. If you guys try them out, things like that. And it's a good thing to have. So I'm going to run that really quickly while we're still on the air. Ever searched your name online and found your personal details exposed on public sites? That's the work of data brokers who profit by selling your info to robocallers and spammers. Enter our sponsor today, Aura. Aura identifies and confronts these brokers, submitting opt-out requests for you. By law, they must comply, but they often complicate the process. Aura simplifies this for you. With services like parental controls, antivirus, VPN, password management, and identity theft insurance, Aura's got you covered. I used Aura, and it found my info on 25 data brokers. It alerted me to 50 plus sites that had compromised my information, and it also monitored my bank for large transactions. I was a real surprise when I got alerts when I was transferring money around. Real lifesaver. This is an added layer of security that I can't do on my own. For peace of mind, try Aura for 2 weeks free at aura.com/unstructured and boost your online safety.
Wow, I'm going to get some Aura. Aura is the guard dog of the internet. Aura, it protects you like a guard dog, people. If you need protection from what we have today, a big cyber attack, Hunley, of the United States.
It's actually yesterday, and it's still rolling out. And guess what they're going to pull in this cyber attack?
What?
Everybody's data.
Oh boy.
And guess what happens? There are so many tricks you can use with people's data. It's not a joke. Quite literally, you figure it out. And have you ever gotten any message on Facebook from one of your friends, and they're like, "Hey, Mark, can you help me out?"
Yeah.
And they'll say, "Oh, I need you to check your text message and please send me the code that's sent to you because I'm locked out of the account and they've got to give it to me and I just don't have a phone number." Well, that's what they're doing is when you send that back to them, it's actually a hacker and they're changing your password. So all of a sudden you'd be like, "Wait, my account's not working. I'm locked up somehow."
I had my Facebook account stolen that way.
Well, exactly.
I had it taken. Yeah. And then I called up, and Facebook has a third-party company that for $300, they said, "We'll open your account." I go, "What?" They said, "Yeah, we're a third-party company. Facebook hires us out to deal with stuff like this." I said, "Go F yourself. I don't need Facebook anymore." They wanted to charge me like $300 or $400 to get back into my account.
Yeah.
But if I had Aura, I wouldn't have to go through this, you're saying.
nothing is perfect, but yeah, it does help. I mean, when I checked it out,
it's only 2 weeks. I think I'm going to try it and see if it works, because I got hacks coming at me left and right now. You know what's great? The one they call up and they mention a relative who got hurt and we need money to help your relative who was injured or arrested. I've heard the theme different ways.
There's another one too, and everybody should watch for this. And it's if you get a text message or whatever, and it's somebody saying, "Have you picked him up at the vet yet?" or some odd message, and you're like, "What are you talking about? This you've got the wrong number." And then all of a sudden, they'll be sending a picture to you, usually a young Asian woman who's like holding a puppy or something, and then establishing a conversation. Then they will help you invest in crypto. So there's a lot of crazy things.
That's a stretch.
So I don't know. It's definitely be careful and be smarter than this guy who we were just talking about earlier, or at least we'll say better spoken. Working on pulling up a clip here of our illustrious
we're gonna get 20 strikes against us.
Come on now.
It's the wannabe dictator, Hunley.
Yeah, it is.
He's a wannabe dictator.
I'll
this
never
cat.
Stop fighting for you. I promise you.
Please stop fighting for
you. By the way, I love when people say, "Well, why do we spend so much?" You realize that 26 out of every 100 students in grades kindergarten through 12 speak Spanish.
I did not realize.
And you know what's sad is at least those kids speaking Spanish as their first language are more coherent than the guy who's talking right here.
Let me tell you, he said the craziest crap today. I don't know what he's on or what happened, but he was mumbling and saying crazy crap all day. God save the Queen, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's off the rails.
Save the Queen, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this guy's just. I mean, that episode of Tucker last night with the wannabe dictator thing, which he used as an entrance. Here's Montoya,
another class act. Yep,
there's another class. Now the transgender community has turned against Montoya for ruining their phony struggle. So they said, you set us back. And now
it did. Yeah,
they said, don't take your plastic inserts out at the White House. The plastic inserts are not to be shown on the White House lawn. That being said, somebody ran a clip of Dylan Mulvaney, who is saying that he's going back the other way. Mulvaney's giving it up, and and they showed him dressed like a man. He's on the cover of, I don't know, some magazine or something. And he said he's going to go back the other way now.
Well, think about it. It's a perfect grift. You go one way, suck it all up, and then go back the other way. And the really sick thing is he'll probably con a bunch of right wingers who will get behind him and say, "See, look, he changed his mind. The most famous."
Right. He'll probably be on Sidebar next week. And then they'll say, "What? How did that happen?"
Well, Dave will ask how old he is.
Dave will ask how old he is. But he has no plastic inserts. No. And he still has a members only club. So he hedged his bets. He's not foolish. He said, "Why should I do all that? I could just put on this Audrey Hepburn act with a handbag. And next thing I know, I'm sponsoring Bud Light."
Well, think about it. He did it. What was it? 365. So he literally put a clock on it too.
Yeah. Brilliant.
365 days. Okay. Well, 366. I'm back.
Well, there is a whistleblower, just so you know, at Budweiser, who has come out without revealing his or her identity in the executive wing, who says this was intentionally done by the executives at Bud to dismantle the company. Is this the person?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Newsweek, by the way, which is not exactly a right wing.
Right. Yeah. This was intentional. They said that the company that bought Budweiser, which is InBev, wanted to dismantle the company so they could get people out, layoffs, and rebuild from the ground up. And this, in their opinion, the whistleblower, this was intentionally done to destroy Budweiser from the inside.
I can totally see that, because remember when we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I had mentioned that there was a distributor talking about how there was zero production of any lines during Memorial Day weekend. So now there you go. Layoffs right there.
Well, remember when we were covering Henry Ford and we were covering the assassination of McKinley, I talked about the robber barons, how they would lay people off, thereby forcing a strike, thereby having a lockout, and thereby firing everybody there and starting with lower wage people, intentionally doing the entire thing.
Yeah.
This was in the early 1900s. So it's not far-fetched to think this is a modern version of what the robber barons, Frick and all these guys did in the late 1800s.
It totally makes sense. And by the way, and guess what else it does?
What?
It bolsters their stupid ass ESG score at the same time.
Right. Of course. And, the whistleblower said the brand was losing, brand share, blah, blah, blah. And this was a way to kill it off and start over. But they got caught in this maelstrom of, people just fed up. And that may hurt them, really long term. Apparently, Modelo now is the biggest selling beer in America. So,
yeah,
wow.
Go figure, right?
Wow.
Modelo.
Yeah, they have immediately started running Budweiser, Harley Davidson ads to offset, I think, the transgender angle,
or to finish it, so that way they destroy the people that were happy. I mean, who was it? I guess Yingling is trying to say "Hold my beer," and they're doing like trans kids shows and things too. So another one going.
Right. Well, we got the Pride Night commercial. I just want to touch on this thing about Gavin Newsom's wife. This is an odd thing. He has a wife named Jennifer who comes from a very wealthy family, super uber. He married very well, Newsom. Jennifer Newsom is a documentary fraud, wealthy chick who does whatever she does. I don't really know what she does all day, but she's like his sidekick involved in, doing stuff. But this story here of killing her own sister, ran her over intentionally and killed her, has haunted her since she was 6 years old. The other sister was 8. They had a fight of some sort. Why she has her own golf cart and is able to drive it. This is the part of the story that I like, Hunley. A 6-year-old with a golf cart, that's how much money they had, runs over her 8-year-old sister and kills her.
Backs into her. Like, whoa.
No. Didn't back into her. Killed her, ran her over. They had a tantrum together, and she wanted to not kill her, but obviously she did something to her, that led to her death, which was running her over with a golf cart. You can't make this up, Eric.
Yes, that will happen if you run people over. You shared another story.
Anyway, which one? The Spider-Man story I love. The one that
the Penn State professor, since we're already
oh my God, the engineer professor, this cat. Oh my Lord. This is
just
crazy.
read the headline. We can't get into too many details.
We might be demonetized if we cover this. So
we already are demonetized, but we don't want to get the age restriction.
We don't want double secret probation like they did at Faber College.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be on double secret YouTube probation pretty soon. But yeah, the dog guy in the woods, I don't know what he was doing with the dog. The dog's name was Steam. He was letting some steam off. And apparently he confessed to the crime, just out of the blue. They didn't even come to him about this thing, but he did some bestial acts with his pet.
Did you, I hate to draw the parallel. Did you see that Kevin Spacey's starting to come out
about
and blaming the press for all of his woes and saying that, hey, these
guys not far-fetched
screwed me over.
Yeah, not far-fetched. I mean, Kevin Spacey, the case he had against what's his name from Rent?
That young actor,
Anthony Rapp, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, the jury decided that case in 11 minutes or something. I mean, they found him not guilty in 13 minutes. I mean, it was a travesty of a sham, of a travesty of a sham.
Yeah, and Spacey he was in that movie, filmed the entire movie. It was completely done, and they ripped him from the movie and refilmed the entire thing with whole other actors.
Yes, incredibly barbaric. Incredibly. I mean, I gotta listen. I have no ill will towards Kevin Spacey. I mean, I really don't. He's one of the greatest American actors. I'm not sure what he did in his private life. There's a lot of gold diggers out there in that world, as we've seen from Barnes with Don Lemon and Barnes's client. They had some sort of a settlement in that case where Don Lemon is a serial crotch grabber, apparently. Right, Eric?
Oh, yeah, we've seen that. And by the way, Spacey could well be a creep.
No, I know. I just don't know. Right. I don't know that he's a creep or not a creep. I mean, I don't, this is Hollywood. This is Hollywood. This is where they invented the creep. So I
know, and that's where you live. So
I see them. Dude, I could go to the grocery store and see creepy shit in the dairy department. I mean, you have no idea the festival of freaks that are out here. To me, it's like, I'm just immune to it. So I don't really feel embittered about Kevin Spacey. Let me just put it that way.
Well, and okay, so now we're going to go to the story here because I think it is a good counterpoint. Right. You sent it to me earlier. Well, look, we're catering to these nuns who are insulting a religion.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, though, depends on the religion. Remember, I said, hey, go ahead and do that. Let's do the one with Islam. Let's do the same display with Muhammad that you do with Christ. You brave souls.
Right.
Oh, wait, no. We're going to quietly remove the movie because of a single scene with a flag, which I know I did a short on it. Very, very interesting. So it's so funny how diversity works. Like we care about this particular group's sensitivities, but not another. And
how about banning movies from going to the countries that banned your movie? How about that idea?
Great idea.
Right. How about that? I mean, they're quietly doing this because these countries have banned the movie because they put up, there's a poster in the background, which is the subtle way that Hollywood does this. You got to give credit where credit is due to these Arab countries who saw through the subtlety of Hollywood putting up a poster in the background of a bedroom scene that says protect trans kids. I mean, that's pretty sharp on the part of these governments to see that and say, no, we're not having it. Not even that. But think about the Hollywood mindset that put that up there. That's the Hollywood that I know and love, that'll put a message in there that looks really subtle, but they will not go after these Arab countries saying that they're transphobic. They will just quietly say, we lost this market. And the same thing happens with the Chinese all the time. And that is a huge economic loss for them. And they do not.
They do refilm for the Chinese. And they do cater. Let's ask Disney about that. I mean, they absolutely do that. And China doesn't seem to care about that, probably because it's destroying us morally inside. But they do care who's on the poster, and they better not be black.
Right. They strip it out for that, too. They strip out black people from the posters at the request of the Chinese. And any other thing that criticizes the Chinese Communist Party or anything that criticizes anything they do. And,
or Taiwan or
look, I mean, like I said, I was debating with a LA Times reporter about 10 years ago and pointing out to her that Hollywood was still doing business with Hitler, selling films in Berlin up until literally Pearl Harbor Day. You know what I mean? So Hollywood did not buckle. The Nazis got rid of Jewish salespeople, allowing them to sell the films in Hollywood, representing the studios. The studios said, okay, we'll pull them. What else you got? We want this stuff edited from the films. They said, okay, we'll do whatever you want. They do not give a flying F about politics unless it's domestic and unless it's, stuff that they can get away with here. It's night and day between what they do overseas.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I want to go through some super chats because they're helping keep us alive while we're doing this. Lady Freddie, this came in really early. Came across Stephen Hilton on YouTube today. Los Angeles recovering addict and red pill lib. Canceled, of course. Seems very fragile. Does Mark know him?
Never heard of him. Sorry. Thanks for the super chat, though.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, he's near you. Pasha Moyer's at a video shoot today, so we'll need to catch us later. And meanwhile, here's little dollars and appreciation. See, he knew we were going to be hit, and
he knew. Yeah, Pasha knew. He's doing a video about us being hit by YouTube on YouTube, which will be demonetized as soon as he's finished.
Well, there is that. And John S., thank you very much. And look at this, Michael DePaul coming in hot, $50 with no question.
DePaul University says, I have no questions, but I have money.
And a lot of support. So thank you so much. And Georgina coming in hot too.
Look at that.
Always love the Freeform Fridays. Thanks for all you two do.
Dude, what about Eva Longoria and Biden? I don't think we have a clip of that because he again said the craziest crap to her. He was hugging her and touching her tits. And then he said, she was 17. I was 40 when we first hooked up. And I'm going, dude, this guy is the director of inappropriate statements. I mean, if Trump is going to be,
Yeah. Well, you know that he probably was trying to do that with Rose Montoya.
Yeah.
I would not doubt that. But now they figured it out and they've disinvited her.
Oh, it's like, what, from next year's Pride event? Disinvited her from what?
Well, her and all the others, because remember, it wasn't just
it
her.
Was, yeah, it was like a murderer's row.
Of insanity,
right?
Of watching, yes. So
well,
they're all.
What would you expect if you had like drag day on the White House lawn? I mean, these are people whose entire celebration, if I may call it that, is about inappropriate pushing of the envelope behavior. These are not conservative Boy Scout groups. I mean, these are groups involved with inappropriate behavior, like we saw with the nuns of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Right. They're not just standing around saying we're nuns. They do inappropriate things for fun. That's their angle. If it offends someone, go F yourself. Yeah, go F yourself.
I mean, they go all the way back to piss Christ and all that too.
Right.
These are disgusting people. And before everybody gets on our case saying, hey, free the nipple, what if it's a guy? Look, Bert Kreischer likes to take his shirt off doing comedy. I don't want to see him in front of the White House doing that. I don't want to see men with their shirt off. There is a certain degree of being in front of the people's house. I don't think that's uncalled for.
Yeah. Well, I question the level of the pride flag flying at the same level as the American flag at the White House. I think there's a statute about that.
Yeah, flag code violation.
Flag code violation, technical foul number 23 will be in the penalty box. But the flag was at the same level as the American flag, which is, I think, a violation of the flag code, right?
Yep. Oh, what about the fact that
I think they did it on Flag Day to say another fuck you to the American people.
Yeah, it was. Speaking of that, though, what about Karine, Jean, whatever her name is, violated the Hatch Act?
What did she do? Tell them to vote for Biden, or?
Yeah, on November 2nd, she talked about the MAGA Republicans, how they don't want to be out for the country and they're looking to harm everyone, or some variant of that. And they determined that but it came forth now, Wednesday or Tuesday, that yes, she did violate the Hatch Act. So they sent her a warning letter.
Oh, technical foul number 23. The Haitian player, lesbian Haitian. I just want to mention this because the mainstream media is not going to really mention this, about a guy named Robert Bowers, who went into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh and killed 11 Jews, the largest anti-Semitic killing in American history. Mainstream media is not going to cover it. He was convicted today. The jury will decide whether he gets the death penalty in Pennsylvania, which I don't know what the method is.
Do they even have it?
Oh, they have it, my friend.
Do they use it?
What's that?
Do they use it?
I mean, they have used it. I don't know if they're going to use it on him. The jury gets to decide if he gets the death penalty. You know, and I mention this because they're saying he's schizophrenic, that he's got mental illness.
Sure.
To counter that, when there's a black or gay shooting, they always say it's a hate crime.
Oh, yeah.
That's political. In this case, because he killed all these Jews in a synagogue, unlike someone who killed blacks in a church, he is mentally ill and should not, suffer the penalties of these other people. I just want to point out the discrepancy there. I don't mind saying the cat's name either, because I don't have that thing, about them that other people do. It's Robert Bowers. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because it happened today.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, though,
in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh.
I'm so cynical about some of it. Like, there was an execution this morning in Florida, and it was like, oh yeah, he was executed for the 1984 killing of two people, like a couple months apart. I'm like, 39 damn years later.
That's got to be a record or something. Right?
I know. I'm like, okay, are you kidding?
You just got to go. Keep the line moving. Come on, let's keep the line moving.
Yeah, it's like roll the wheelchair to the freaking from one chair to another. He gets transferred.
He had 193 last meals. A record. A record. He just kept ordering from Chicken Delight.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm jaded by it. So who knows what's going to happen?
Well, there's also a story I wanted to cover, which I don't know if I told you about, which is in West Virginia, of all places, 4 burglars, white and black, middle-aged. I don't know what they were doing. They broke into a house. This is like Kick-Ass 1 and 2. I got a kick out of this. 4 burglars were apprehended by a masked man like some sort of avenging superhero, like out of Kick-Ass, and he left them tied up in the house they were burglarizing and shot out the tires of their getaway car before leaving, and did not stick around for the apprehension of the four. I don't know if you have the photos of them.
I was trying to find the pictures.
Yeah, I saw the photos. They kind of, yeah.
It's like they took them down.
They took down the photos of the suspects, but it was a mixture of just normal looking working class white people. You know what I mean? They didn't seem like they were meth heads. They weren't minorities.
They're little.
It's West Virginia, so they could have been older pictures, but I don't know. But obviously, the key to the story is the masked avenger. That's the part I like. You know what I mean? Of actually doing something, like I've been saying on this show. Here they are. Yeah.
Jason looks like a fine specimen. They're.
Well, I don't know. She looks. Little John looks.
John looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason's a little spooked.
Timothy Justice is ironically named.
Right, Timothy Justice, Injustice. James McDaniel Jr., his father, obviously James McDaniel Sr., who got away with it for many years, taught his son, but the son never learned how to burglarize a house. But look at these four. I mean, this is kind of crazy. But how does he apprehend them? I guess at gunpoint. It's not even his house. It's not his house. This guy, the masked avenger, caught these four, tied them up, and then shot the tires out of their getaway car.
Now, in California, he'd be convicted.
Well, New York, too. They got a guy in New York on the subway today who stabbed and killed a maniac, and he was arrested. This is a black dude now.
Right. So I think his is going to be dropped. That does help him out.
Well, he's immediately out with no bail. Put it that way. That was weird. So essentially the same crime that was being committed in the earlier case, but this time the black kid or young guy in the 20s took out a knife and hacked the guy to death. I'm like, holy crap, this is complete Bernie Getz time now in the subway system in New York. It's every man for himself now. I mean, you're hacking people to death who are attempting to rob and kill people. This is really getting interesting, Hunley.
No, totally agree. Now, we were talking earlier about Tucker Show. And
I think number hero.
4. No, that was the best.
Right.
That was the best one that he has done so far. And
but we got to give a shout out to Alexander McCaskill. I mean, this is really the stuff I've been talking about on this channel. Do what you can. McCaskill did what he could. He altered the chyron, put up the chyron that said "wannabe dictator," discusses whatever in the chyron, right?
Oh yeah.
And then he took his penalty. He said, "Fuck him, I'm out of here." 10 years I worked at Fox. McCaskill, just brilliant sabotage.
And he deserves his medal, by the way.
He deserves the McCaskill medal. Dude, they ought to call that the McCaskill. This kid's a genius for doing that. That's the stuff I'm talking about, people. Do what you can against the deep state. You're going to have to take maybe a lump or two, but man, oh man, was that powerful.
I think Tucker might find him a job.
I
could be wrong, but my gut feeling is that Tucker will find some work for our industrious young fellow.
Well, that sarcastic take by Tucker after that was one of the best. Oh, dude.
The best.
That was one of the best Tucker sarcasm. The writing was just impeccable. It awes me as a writer. I mean, forget about the topic. Just the writing that is done so quickly for that show blows my freaking writer's mind. It really does. I mean, so eloquent, so sharp, so sarcastic. Oh, and it's coming from an apparent preppy, so it makes it more powerful.
Well, it really reminds me of Chris Hitchens.
Yeah, he's an American Chris Hitchens.
You know, that style just so perfectly biting, and I love it. And it's like, no, it's not that. He doesn't want your children. We do, and he's the father of the fatherland. I mean, what a way to end that.
It was great. It was great. I got to play that again tonight. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. Now, on Tucker, though, on this one, I think you sent it to me. What is the deal here? Do you think about supposedly Tucker begging to get on Rogan?
It looks like fake. It looks like fake news. It looks like fake. Somehow Tim Pool was involved in this thing or something. I don't know what his connection is, but Rogan had RFK Jr. on this morning or last night. I haven't seen that interview yet. I saw the one with Jordan Peterson. That was interesting. I'll tell you that much. But one thing I didn't realize is Jordan Peterson, who's fascinatingly educating RFK Jr. about certain environmental things and things of that nature. There's a lot of deer in the headlights moments for RFK Jr. in this Jordan Peterson interview, where he had no take on things and had no opinion about various subjects. However, at the end, I learned that Jordan Peterson has endorsed Mike Pence for president.
What?
Did you know this?
No, Jesus, that must be the Daily Wire connection.
That's what I thought.
And
that's what I thought. So
wow,
the Daily Wire
horrible.
and Ben Shapiro are backing Mike Pence.
Oh my God!
That's what I thought.
I mean, DeSantis is bad enough, but good God! I mean, wow. Not even Larry Elder. I mean, for God's sake, Ben Shapiro worked with Larry Elder at one time. I could see that.
I know. Let me tell you something. Jordan Peterson wouldn't know Mike Pence if he fell over him in a lavatory.
No.
I mean, that's an absurd, bizarre endorsement. I mean,
yeah, but that's a pure payoff. Because I mean,
right. Why wouldn't you endorse the guy sitting in front of you? You just went and interviewed this guy for 3 hours or 2 hours. You think that Mike Pence has anything close to Jordan Peterson's viewpoint of the world? That's ridiculous.
No, and I mean that's shocking to me because I was about to say that when Jordan Peterson's on point, he is incredibly incisive.
He was on point. He was on point with this interview with RFK Jr.
But then he took it out in the end.
Well, he didn't say it at the end. I learned about it in the end. You know, he didn't say I endorse Mike Pence. I found out afterwards and almost fell off the couch. I mean, that is, you know, he might as well have endorsed. What's the guy's name that Lyndon LaRouche, you know, the Jose Vegas
Hutchinson out there, or I mean, there's so many.
right. And who is the North Carolina chick?
Tim Scott.
No, the girl.
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley, yeah.
Yeah. There's plenty of war lovers that he could endorse.
But the Indian guy has come out with an incredible program.
Vivek Ramaswamy. I keep sending you stuff like.
No, I looked at some of it. Wow. I mean, who knows if he would really carry it out? Who knows?
I don't know.
They could be full of shit. They could be full of shit.
At least he's bringing it up, so maybe it'll be the conversation. You got to commend him too. He's the only one out there who literally said, "Hey, first act, I will pardon Donald Trump, and I challenge every other candidate." Wrote letters to all of them too, saying, "Will you do it?"
To his credit, RFK Jr. said his first act would be to pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. So,
not Trump.
He didn't say Trump. As I said on Twitter, I was shocked, and I kept the ticking clock going until I got a response from Robert Kennedy Jr. about the Trump thing, and then he was on with Crystal Ball, and he said that he found the indictments to be very strong. And I went, holy shit, you gotta be kidding me. And then they asked him about Biden's mental state, and he said he saw nothing wrong with it. He can't tell by the videos. He hasn't met him in years, and he could be in a bubble, and I can't judge his mental state. I went, holy shit. Those two things were in the same minute or two when she interviewed him, and the first one was about the indictment of Trump, that they have a very strong case against Trump. I nearly fell off the couch hearing that from RFK Jr. I don't know how you get around that. You know, with Dershowitz coming out and all these other people, Jonathan Turley denouncing the indictment, he comes out and says they have a very strong case against him. You know, and I just thought the answer is this is a political targeting. I'm not a supporter of Trump, but this is a political targeting of him by the president of the United States and his party and the Justice Department. You could even back it off of Biden, say it's the Justice Department gone crazy.
Or you could just say first they came. Because
but I mean, Glenn Greenwald handled it perfully well.
Oh yeah,
he was on with Ryan Grimm and these other douchebags, and he said he's being targeted. He's not a supporter of Trump. He doesn't have to say it like Matt Taibbi does as a robotic response every time there's a camera on. I do not support Donald Trump. But getting back to the baseball scores, 3-2, 4-4, 6-6 in the eighth, and I still don't support Donald Trump. I'm Matt Taibbi. But you know, getting back to RFK Jr. Wow, Eric. Wow.
Yep. Well, the way he did it,
and he's a lawyer. So certain people said I'm not a lawyer. You know, I was listening to Rich Barris, and Barris was talking about. He says, you know, I defer to you, Robert, because I'm not a lawyer, but blah, 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 blah. RFK Jr. is a lawyer, and he thinks they have a strong case against Donald Trump. He doesn't have a problem with it. He doesn't have a problem with the indictment of the president like a banana republic.
Well, but that's what I was trying to tell you is it's especially dirty the way he did it, because he did it in a subtle manner that knifed Trump. What he said wasn't just it looks really bad for him. He specifically said the fact that they're piercing the lawyer-client immunity means that there is a conspiratorial corruption angle. So he, in essence, targeted everybody to a specific point that he was trying to make without saying it directly. It was a dirty thing.
That was low.
It was a dirty,
low,
move.
bro. I don't know if I can get around that. I hope I get to interview him. I'm supposedly on a waiting list to interview him. That's the first thing I'm going to ask him coming out of the gate. I am taking the gloves off, my friend. This is not going to be this is not going to be kick ass or kiss ass. I'm going to just go in as a journalist and say, dude, this is, what's your explanation for this crap? He's got no figure in mind for the minimum wage. The other conservative guy next to Crystal Ball was asking him last time about nuclear power. He had no answer for that. Also, Jordan Peterson, he said, I know documentation, how to read scientific studies when it comes to vaccines. He says, I haven't read any studies about climate change. And
so he's like a one-note person. It's like
that's what I said. That's what I said. Yeah. It's like a one-note candidate. Yeah. I mean, and the rest of it is him waxing romantically about his family. If you listen to what he does, and I don't mean, he waxes politically romantically about the Cuban Missile Crisis and my uncle doing this, my father doing that, which is all true. But he seems to have no specifics.
But that was your uncle. What are you going to do?
Right. No. I hope the guy gets the nomination. I hope, if I can vote for him in the primary here as a registered Democrat, I will, because what Robert is saying is correct. I mean, you want pressure on Biden from the outside. You want to squeeze this cat and, maybe end up with two populist candidates running against each other. I understand the politics of it, but I can't just be quiet when I hear this insanity coming out of RFK Jr.'s mouth. I mean, there may be some good things coming out of his mouth. He's now flipped completely.
The CIA thing is good.
Yeah. The CIA killed my father. They may kill me. I mean, it's a mixed bag. I mean, when he announced his run, he said the Ukrainian war was a humanitarian effort on our part, and now he's flipped on that. But it's only a matter of weeks. I mean, it's not years.
I'm also troubled that, keep in mind that we're talking about him with the crystal ball and Sagar and Jetty interview, right?
Right.
That was his second appearance with
That was
them.
the second appearance with
the
him.
first one, she was filibustering him on the vaccines and wouldn't let him answer. So I don't understand. Why would he go back? And I felt like he was bootlicking in a weird way.
That's a weird way.
And then I sent you something from Crystal Ball's husband,
Mr. Ball.
Mr. Ball, he's a pain. Kyle Kalinske.
Who is Kyle Kalinske? That's her new husband. She had the other guy who was the guy who fathered her child, right? And she dumped him, and he was a billionaire entrepreneur, right, Eric? And then she got rid of him, that short little Indian guy. She got rid of him, had the baby. He has to pay for the baby for 18 years, and then she hooked up with Kyle.
And yes, Kyle is her like young beau, bleach blonde dude now. And his latest video, I sent it to you, was just going off screaming about Tucker Carlson saying that Trump was anti-war and that Trump is absolutely not anti-war. But you know who's anti-war to Kyle Kalinske?
Who?
Biden. And
that's insane. That's
celebrating Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, which Trump, of course, started, except Biden screwed up. Anyway, it's pretty hilarious.
That's pretty hilarious. I mean, the one thing you can't take away from Trump is his non-aggression, no invasion during his administration, and the pulling of troops back from all over the world. I mean, they lied to him about withdrawing troops from Syria, for Christ's sake. I mean, you could, and
by the way, that's why this happened, because of Milley.
Right,
Milley was lying and trying to say no, and Trump pulled these papers out and said, "Oh yeah."
Well, he's also claiming he would end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours. Nobody's doing that. He was also the first to denounce the war as a public figure, is Donald Trump. He was also complimented by a guy who said this is the only politician speaking out, and his name was Noam Chomsky. So, I mean, you've got the Chomsky endorsement for Trump's anti-war bona fides. Noam Chomsky, for Christ's sake, who apparently is a friend of Epstein's.
I think Noam is definitely on the Taibbi front, and he's probably not saying that he doesn't like Trump as frequently.
Right. He's going to have to go. He's going to have to go on the Matt Taibbi tour, where you denounce Trump around the country and then state your whatever you want for the day. Like I said, it's kind of like a Sig Heil. Where like if you see Hogan's Heroes. You remember the show with Sergeant Schultz and everybody else, they would salute Hitler, but it was just like, Sig Heil. They would just like mock it all the time. And I think that's what the Trump thing is. Like, oh yeah, I hate Trump. But getting back to the weather, it's almost like a Sig Heil in reverse. I got to denounce this guy. And it's almost like a feeble thing that you got to do, to just say hello. It's become, the same as the mask. The mask, I think, is like wearing the armband of the Third Reich. The mask has become the armband. The armband, they put it on the same thing. Oh, I got to wear my armband. I'm going to the store, right? Has no medical properties, the armband, but it signals to the others that I'm part of the Fourth Reich. And virtue I find signaling. What's that?
Virtue signaling.
Right, but I'm saying, but that's what the swastika on the armband was. Didn't have any legal thing. It didn't have any medical properties. It was just like, hey, look at this. I'm with you guys. Let's go. Let's go to the vegetable department. Let's go.
Yeah, totally agree. Really quickly, let me get through some tips on locals. Don't sue me saying, Mark, is there any chance that Keith Olbermann and John Cusack are brothers that took different stage names?
Well, I don't know Keith Olbermann, but I know John Cusack. And I've had some movie business with John Cusack. But also I was there the night when they launched the cruise missiles, the shock and awe night in the Gulf War, Eric, in Baghdad. And I was was with a couple of guys who had a difference of opinion, had a fight at that event. And it was Rob Lowe versus John Cusack. And Lowe was pro Bush, and he was for the launching of these missiles. And he actually said Godspeed to George Bush about the missile launch, and Cusack went berserk. So it was Lowe versus Cusack, and I was kind of in the middle, like a fly on the wall.
Which is an unlikely thing. I was surprised to hear that about Rob Lowe being on that side. Good old West Wing. So good job on him. He's under the radar, obviously.
Yeah, totally under, but it's not a secret in Hollywood. I mean, it's like he's like a James Woods kind of a thing,
Well, wasn't there a club in Hollywood or an informal group that like the Lincoln something or another?
I was never part of it. I was never part of anything that wanted me to be a member. They never invited me. But again, I could have been on the other side at that point. Who knows? With my crazy arc. I don't know what side I was on. But looking back, when you're growing up, you just take a lot of this stuff for granted. When you're growing up in the bubble, Eric, of liberal democracy, which gets us to the next subject, because it kind of reminds me of growing up, which was the passing of Daniel Ellsberg today. I have a lot of ideas and memories of Daniel Ellsberg from that time, because it was when I was in high school that he was releasing the Pentagon Papers. So I thought maybe it would be a good time to talk about Ellsberg.
Yeah, definitely.
The situation with Ellsberg, I thought, is really weird, because he's got a lot in common with Edward Snowden, and I don't mean that in a political sense. I mean that in a social sense. Like, Daniel Ellsberg is a strange cat. Like, he was in the Vietnam War. He saw some time in the bush, and he was married to a chick named Carol Cummings. And Carol, this is his first wife. Just forget about what he did at the Rand Corporation and the Pentagon Papers. The study itself that he released was about 7,000 pages. The Rand Corporation, just so people at home will know what I'm talking about, the Pentagon Papers, what they actually are. Pentagon Papers was a study by the Rand Corporation as to the direction, success, and history of the war in Vietnam. And the conclusion, it goes back to the French and how we got involved. And then This is in 1967. So keep in mind what the obituaries are not reporting today is the guy in the White House is LBJ at the time. Not Richard Nixon, not anybody else. It was LBJ, 1967. So they do this study of the Rand Corporation. The Rand Corporation is brought in by the Pentagon to do this study. Daniel Ellsberg, there's a picture of Daniel Ellsberg pretty recently, I guess.
Yeah.
He decided to take the 47 volume study and release it to the media. Now, how do you do this? And I'm going to explain this in detail so people know the actual American history of the untold story. He went around Malibu and he went around California to people's offices who were friends in the movie business, and they would go to the office at night on copy machines, and he would run off copies out of the trunk of his car. Just explain the physics of what was going on. But he would then try to distribute them to the LA Times, the Washington Post, and the New York Times, later the Associated Press and others. New York Times was first to release it, and that started a court battle about the release of the Pentagon Papers, not unlike what we've seen with Julian Assange and with others, including Snowden. But to get into his social life for a second and why it's of interest and why I'm going to explain this. He was married to a chick. He went to Harvard himself. Okay. He was married to a chick named Carol Cummings. Now, Carol Cummings' father, this is from 1952 to 1965. He had a 13-year marriage, a couple of kids. And this is his first wife. The second wife, I'm going to get into in a second, but I'm going to show you the influence of wives for the ladies who watch this show. They know what I'm talking about. Carol Cummings' father was a Marine Corps brigadier general. Okay, Eric, whose son-in-law was this man, Daniel Ellsberg. And that was fined for 13 years. The marriage comes to an end in 1965. Why does it come to an end? Because Daniel Ellsberg meets a smoking hot chick, and yes, named Patricia Marks, who is 28 years old, went to Radcliffe, just like his wife, lives in Scarsdale, has an apartment on Sutton Place, total wealthy daughter of Louis Marks, who is the chairman of Marks Toys. He is the what they called, not a tycoon, he was called the toy-coon, a billionaire toy maker who made a lot of war toys, G.I. Joe. All the stuff that you saw as a kid was made by Louis Marks. He was a billionaire. This was his daughter. He left his wife and got himself a new smoking hot, wealthy activist wife.
So he traded her in for a younger, healthier mother.
But not just but it's more than that. It's a billionaire's daughter. It's also a woman who is a Marxist, and I mean that as a Marx descendant.
I was going to ask you if it was X. I was going to ask you if
Marx it's an X. Oh, yeah. No, it's
okay.
Marx with an X.
Of course.
They're capitalists, but she hates her father and she's living off him in Sutton Place, living large, went to Radcliffe, hates her dad's politics. Her dad is a financial backer of Eisenhower as a bundler of money and also friends with Bob Hope. So she doesn't like her dad. But she likes this guy, Daniel Ellsberg, and she is the one that flips Ellsberg to steal the Pentagon Papers. And she said, no papers, no poussey. Get it? And this is the untold story, briefly, of Daniel Ellsberg and how being in the sack with this girl flipped his politics from being the son-in-law of a Marine brigadier general to being the Abby Hoffman of the left, which he wasn't. Patricia Marks makes him do what he did. Now, there's a similarity which is explored, the reason I'm mentioning this, in the Snowden affair, because Edward Snowden gets a very hip pole dancing girlfriend photographer who flips Edward Snowden into doing what Edward Snowden did, which brings me to my movie pick of the week, which is Snowden by Oliver Stone for this weekend. It's a great movie, by the way, with a great cast, including Shailene Woodley and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But she, and it's kind of depicted in the movie, uses her influence and sexuality on him to flip him. This is what happened to Daniel Ellsberg. For everyone who says this guy woke up one day and did this, that's not true.
There's another. Here's another echo that I'm seeing now. Well, we're going to talk about heiresses and causes.
Mm-hmm.
You know about the paintings that they're throwing the tomato soup on and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know who's funding that?
Yes, the
Getty Oil.
The Getty family has done all these things. I know Balthazar Getty myself for years, and a lot of these Gettys, there's so many of them that there's these spin-off Gettys. Yeah. But this is in Stockholm, I believe. This one here, I can't really see which one this was. But, that's the Van Gogh. There was one with a Monet yesterday in Stockholm where two Swedish chicks were gluing themselves. They threw the tomato stuff. I guess that's tradition now. And then they glue their hands to the painting. So it kind of leaves you in a position as a security guard. What do you do? I mean, you can't rip their hands off the painting. They're crazy glued to the glass. So that becomes a problem. And during the interim, they're spouting their Greta Thunberg political manifestos. So it's kind of a tricky problem. I would say tasers are necessary at this point just to shut them up. Taser them, let them hang from the painting, Eric.
Yeah, just to make sure they're subdued because we don't want them to get away. So hold on.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to.
Hold on.
Because it's almost like, I saw the one yesterday in Sweden. It's almost like they're holding a press conference. People are filming them. They're coming around. The guards are standing there. They're going on pontificating about climate change, end of the world. We have to do something. We've got 3 hours to live, according to AOC and Greta Thunberg. And our hands are now glued to this Monet. I mean, there's got to be a remedy for this. Look at this. Look at these douchebags. Look at this. And now they will
calmly, and they're just calmly,
they've rehearsed it. They've rehearsed this in their little theater group over and over again, Eric. Come on. Look at this. Now they're going to glue their hands, but nobody stops them here. Look at this. This is the hand gluing. And now they're going to glue their hands and back so they can't be removed. Well, just rip them off. Let the hands remain there. Who cares? Just yank them out of there. Look at this. Now they're going to have a 25-minute pontification on what kind of soup is that, by the way?
Heinz.
Yeah, I thought so.
The Heinz fortune. Another, by the way, Teresa Heinz.
Heinz.
She married into that one, though.
Right.
And which gave us John Kerry's campaign, and we've had plenty of him.
Right. Well,
so
that's
perfect choice.
Perfect choice. Just stop oil and we'll stop gluing ourselves to this wall. Finally, this guy comes over and does something here, but they never really do anything. They never really interrupt them. They never slap the can out of their hand. They never, tase them. I suggest throwing a net over them, a cloak, which I call the cloak of decency. That is like thank you. It's a heavy duty, cloak that just goes over them, and you hear like.
Well, they have them in institutions. They have weighted blankets to calm people down.
That's right. That's what I would do. There's got to be a device.
And I'm sure they're so weak they probably would be on the ground for
right. Well, they're now saying we're going to ban backpacks going into museums in Italy. I'm going like, now after all this? I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, whatever. Or just tackle a couple of them. And
I'm tell you something. I've been to the Uffizi in Florence a bunch of times. They have guards with Uzi automatic weapons. I was at the Norton Museum in Palm Beach when I was in Florida, and the guards, there was not many people there, but the guards, if we got close to the painting, a guard would come over and politely say, please step back from the painting. I go, what's this about? She says, the rules are you cannot be within arm's length of these Picassos. And I said, okay, I didn't know. That's fine. But they were on us, the whole time we're walking through the museum. You're shadowed by these guards, at least at the Norton. I'm not sure what happens in other museums, but.
Well, that's why I was asking about this, because at the Art Institute in Chicago, there's a guard in every gallery.
Right.
I mean, you walk in, they're kind of watching, and it's little things like don't spit on the painting or whatever. There's a
Don't forget Robert Fitzpatrick, who was the subject of one of our stories, was the director of the Art Institute in Chicago, a friend of Marina Oswald's, her handler, briefly in the college in Alabama that we covered, where Oswald gives his performance as what it was like in the Soviet Union. But getting back to the Uffizi, they have Uzi at the Uffizi's. They're all carrying Uzi Israeli machine guns around the paintings, and it's quite demonstrative when you see that. You're not thinking about spitting or gluing yourself to a painting when you see an armed, uniformed soldier with a Uzi automatic. It can be quite intimidating. But here in these other places, I guess you can glue yourself to the painting. Nobody cares.
Yeah, well, I do like it when the people take it seriously. It makes me think of Robin Williams' old routine about English police or whatever. Stop, or I'll say stop again. But then somebody else is talking about in Germany. When they come out and they say stop, you could be on the Autobahn and they'll be like stop, and you don't, and a gun comes out and fires at you. I mean, so there's some people take it a little more seriously than not. Let me get through some more feedback from folks. We got a new member with Thomas Grigsby. Super sticker from John Casey. And the real Terry, who I believe was talking to us the other day. New member. Thank you very much. Glad to have you hanging around. Juan Sosa. Have only been watching the JFK series for a few days. Haven't run into E. Howard Hunt yet. Any videos on him from y'all? Loving it. He's coming up. We've talked about him in some, but he's going to be his own episode, right?
I don't know. All I know is that Plumbers thing on HBO sucks. It's supposedly a dark comedy. It's them. It's the left mocking these guys as the gang that couldn't shoot straight. It's been done before. It's a bullshit series. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
All right. Another whistleblower says Anheuser is a union shop.
Right. I've heard that. Right.
Is up soon,
right.
So
I've heard that also. Yeah. That's also in the whistleblower statement. So that was part of it, which is what happened with the 1900s.
Just like you said, good timing on McKinley.
The McKinley story has similar echoes.
I wish we thought. I wish we knew about that so we could have tied it directly in during that.
I would have said something during McKinley. Wow.
J.M. Spacey is smart and evil.
You don't know that he's evil, bro. Come on.
Well, he's saying the two best cases against him mysteriously died, but the guy with the worst case is allowed to live, knowing that the case will be a proxy for all of them.
I'm not sure about that, but I mean,
I don't know.
He got some lawyers and he lawyered up and he fought it. You know, one of the survivors of Me Too, who didn't comply to the Me Too rules, the one guy said, "Go fuck yourselves," was Jeremy Piven,
John Cusack's best friend.
Yeah. And Piven said, "I ain't even going to answer these fucking questions. Get out of my face." You know, and they left him alone. He was so aggressive, Piven, out of the gate, that it intimidated the bullies, and he stood up to the bullies, and they never went back to Piven again.
Interesting.
Never went back to Piven, who has a room full of wigs, by the way, on styrofoam heads. Just want you to know that little Malibu trivia there.
JS's amazing as always. Thank you. Bromian with £2. Thank you very much. Jay Gerchkev or Jers. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. Keep flipping those rocks over. Excellent intellectual content. Thank you. Here you go, Mark. I Heart PG. Love Mark's hair.
Doing
Love
pretty
this
good
channel. Subscribe.
I just got a cut.
And let me see. Excitius.
Leon Russell's. What's this?
Leon Russell's Top in Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Oh, his hat? His hat? I guess he means his hat. Top hat.
Oh, okay. Was purchased in a Hollywood prop shop and had Al Jolson's name in the lining.
Wow.
With the 1927, the Jazz.
Oh, it might have been a prop that Leon Russell had gotten from a Hollywood prop shop.
Sure.
Leon was in Hollywood quite a bit recording. It was a stretch of time with a guy named Mark Benno. He did a Asylum Choir, 2 albums actually, called Asylum Choir 1, Asylum Choir 2. But what this guy's referring to is the top hat that he wore playing piano in Mad Dogs and Englishmen with Joe Cocker on that tour, which I recommend the album. And if there's any video footage, I recommend you check it out. A spectacular tour with a lot of guest stars.
All right. Linda Solinsky, $20. Thank you very much.
Wait, she was here last week, Zelensky. I remember we made a joke about Zelensky. That's why from Ukraine. Yeah, no, I mentioned a joke about her name.
All right. You know? I'm sure she loves that.
By the way, I watched like a 2-hour Scott Ritter on the Duran. It took me a while to get through it. And he can be a little, obviously, bloviating and rambunctious because he is a Marine. You know, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, just in a, you know, he's just a large figure. with a lot of opinions, but underneath it all, Ritter's got a lot of insight. He toured Russia, is what I'm getting at, and he went on a personal tour of Russia, and he met regular Russians. He went to Moscow, he went to St. Petersburg, and he said that the economy is possibly the greatest economy that Russia has ever had as a nation right now, in terms of booming economy of product and everything happening. And the soul of the Russian people are completely patriotically behind what's going on. He said in the cities, they don't give a crap, because that's kind of like what city life is like anywhere. Well,
that's going to be the left wing. I hate to say it.
Yeah, left or right. He said he went into both areas, and he describes it in great detail on the Duran. If you want to see that from the 2 days ago, I highly recommend it, because he goes into his analysis of the war, and what he was told by high authorities is that March of 2024 is going to be the end of Zelensky, because that's election day in the Ukraine. And the Russians want the Ukrainian people to get rid of the Zelensky regime. They want them, they're going to do their military thing nonstop. This is two separate wings of the Russian government. The military thing is going to continue, but on the political side, they want the Ukrainian people themselves to remove Zelensky and just say enough is enough. And
put up an anti-war candidate or something.
Exactly, which is what he was. Which is what he was, if you remember, Eric, at the beginning. He flipped when they got his hooks into him, Victoria Nuland, and what Jose was talking about, his documentary on Victoria Nuland.
And let me guess, and then he'll fly to his giant estate in Florida, right?
Well, it could be what's happened before is to have a shadow government, or a government in exile, which is what I think they're going to attempt to do. But sometimes governments in exile just get laughed at because they're replaced by a real government. It's a touch and go thing of being a government in exile historically. Some are taken for real, and some are laughed at. There was one guy that we had. Don't forget, we had Chalabi, who we try to bring into Iraq, Eric, as a president in exile waiting. That was a debacle. Then we had the attempt to topple Erdogan in Turkey by bringing that cat out of the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania and flying him into Turkey to try to overthrow Erdogan. That failed miserably, also by the CIA. So we have these guys that we put on ice, that people don't know what they're doing. We didn't know what Chalabi was doing. We didn't know what the Turkish guy was doing. We just support these guys and keep them in waiting as replacement puppets for various governments when and if we attempt to topple them. There's a long history of this with the CIA and the United States intelligence services. But yeah, Zelensky, they would prefer that the Ukrainian people. That being said, Scott Ritter also goes into the fact that, how do you hold Kiev? How do you hold Odessa? How do you occupy and hold these cities? It's a real problem militarily. But that being said, they've got hundreds of thousands of men who are doing push-ups and playing basketball who haven't even entered the war yet on the Russian side. So it's really getting messy for the Ukrainians, who are now, supposedly being replaced by the Polish.
Oh, great. All right, we got a super sticker from Heather Whatever. Thank you very much. And a question here from Michael DePaul. Mark, Charles Chinnikai's book, 50 Years in the Church of Rome, says residents in St. Joseph, Minnesota heard from local Jesuits of Lincoln's assassination 3 hours before it happened.
I don't know about 3 hours before it happened, but as I pointed out, the Jesuits have been linked to every CIA thing I've ever explored. The Jesuit, and people are aware of this, including RFK Jr.
Would that be a good episode? The Jesuits?
Well, I don't want to get into some anti-religious thing, but I mean, there are Jesuit schools, and the CIA seems to breed a lot of people in those Jesuit schools. Let me just leave it at that. I don't want to get into this, Pope conspiracy world and that whole thing. But American Jesuits, I don't want to get into that. But American Jesuit schools have harbored and harvested and been the cover for a lot of CIA activity in America since 1949. Let me put it. I don't know about 1849, but since 1949 with the CIA, the Jesuits have been kind of a cover for that world.
All right. BTK, YouTube demonetizing, suspending, and remove Jordan Peterson. The leftist collusion is on. I didn't know Peterson was removed from YouTube. That's
if that's new, I don't know what this.
That'd be very new.
That would be new to me, so I can't comment on it. But.
Gentlemen, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Jordan Peterson is Canadian. We know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, for a guy from another country, he sure had a lot of opinions about American presidential politics.
But he has influence here. It does matter.
Oh, no. I agree. But I mean, it would be bold of me to go to England and just start telling them who to pick as prime minister. You know.
Yeah,
that would be a little bold.
Jim Satala, how did they know to go after Trump's lawyers and pierce the privilege? They were obviously spying on him again.
Yeah, no. The lawyer was a plant. They didn't go after Trump's lawyers. He was in on it. This has happened in cases that we've covered. If you want to see the Sirhan episode where they put in a deep state attorney there. I mean, they have put deep state attorneys on big political cases.
Well, you worked with them. What are you talking about? They loved your Twitter timeline.
Yeah, but I'm saying during the trial of Sirhan, that lawyer they put in, they got rid of the lawyer who was there, and they flipped also the Manson girl. They flipped her. That was another attorney they put in. I mean. This is
Bugliosi, who wrote coincidentally the book on JFK.
Right.
So he did Helter Skelter and JFK. So Charles Manson, JFK. It's weird that the lines directly keep crossing over and over.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Whoever that Trump lawyer was, he was not on Trump's side. Let me put it that way. He didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to take this note from Trump and run to the judge. Let me put it that way. No lawyer, unless it's Michael Cohen, who did the same thing. But Cohen was backed into a corner like a rat and flipped. This guy was a plant. And the fact that Trump keeps getting these lawyers from hell, when he should simply get Robert Barnes and call it a day. I mean, I would trust Dershowitz because he's such an idealistic lawyer.
Or get Bannon and say, Bannon, who do I hire? Get some people that seem to know Trump is not a good
Robert keeps talking about how he hires these white shoe corporate lawyers. And I don't think it's money. I don't think he gives a crap about money, to be honest. I mean,
it's like generals. He loves generals.
Yeah.
And he gets burned by that every time.
Right.
I think that, look, Trump wasn't in Vietnam. I think there's a little bit of that. I don't want to say shame, but maybe a little bit. Like, he didn't actually serve. And so he kind of, and also he's got a blue collar streak to him where I think he's looking up to some of these corporate lawyer types. I don't know why, but I think
I don't know, but the billing is the same. I mean, he's paying a fortune for legal fees. So I don't think there's a discounted, he's not getting negligence attorneys off of TV. I mean, the way, Robert says that he doesn't want to spend money, he's getting billed up the kazoo from these people. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I mean he should so many cases. Yeah, he's got so many cases going on. I mean, his legal fees every year, going back 30 years, he's been doing this, Trump. He probably says, look, I have a budget for legal fees every year, and I'm going to stick to $2 million a year. Maybe he does that,
Even a Dershowitz,
Dershowitz. Why not Dershowitz? Why not? That's my new question. Why not Dershowitz?
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat him there. Bromian, £2. Thank you very much. John Nielsen. This is perfect, leading into one of our last stories.
We were thinking of
Daniel Ellsberg died out of spite of them charging Jack.
Great line.
Teixeira.
Yeah, no, Jack Teixeira, like the baseball player. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Jack Teixeira. Now you got me fucking it up.
Well, I don't know it, but yes, we were going to be bringing.
There was a player named Mark Teixeira who was a great hitter, great ball player recently. But yeah, Teixeira was indicted today. This is a railroading. This is, again, two types of justice, two different tiers of justice. He's releasing stuff not even in the ballpark of the level of importance on terms of Pentagon Papers. But I'll tell you something. One of the things that's in there is the numerical breakdown of Ukrainian deaths to Russian deaths being at an 8-to-1 ratio of Ukrainians dying to Russians in this war. That's why they did not want that happening. And there's a big NATO summit coming up in July, which Scott Ritter talked about, which is going to make or break this war, because they're either going to shit or get off the pot at this NATO summit. that's coming up, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they act in terms of, you know, doubling down, tripling down, or getting out of this freaking debacle. One of the biggest military debacles since the military debacle of the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Yeah,
just as a war. I mean, the military withdrawal from Afghanistan was just a physical debacle, you know, in terms of leaving everything behind, fleeing, whatever that was. But as a war, this is a bigger debacle than the Vietnam War, the Iraq War, all the wars combined. I've never seen anything quite like this in terms of money, death, blood, treasure, meaninglessness. Every single
Vietnam angle.
What's that?
Vietnam. I mean, we've got, you know,
right. No, I mean, even in Vietnam, over 20 years, we lost 58,000 men. Over 20 years, Eric. I mean, they've lost 58,000 men in a couple of months.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so this is a different ball game. That was the Vietnam War was essentially, in my humble opinion, an occupation. You know what I mean? It was a war of attrition. It was an occupation.
Yeah, similar to Iraq.
Very similar. Very similar. This is not. This is an aggressive bloodbath. This is a meat grinder. This is the Russians being fed meat and just grinding it up day after day after day. You know what I mean? They're not advancing. They're coming to them, and they're mowing them down. It's not me saying this. This is the Duran. This is Ritter. It's coming from, you know, Max Blumenthal's channel and other channels. Every expert says the same thing. The ratio is about 8-1. Robert Kennedy Jr. originally said that the ratio was 3-1. He's now upped it to 7-1. He's now adjusted his numerical rating system, apparently.
You know, that makes me think of what Jose Vega was talking about with his father, how he read the memos where it was literally a requirement of population control. And some of it was intentional in the El Salvadorian war.
Right.
That if enough people were to leave the planet, then they would have extra aid, or their aid wouldn't be cut off. And I don't know. We have the Newlands of the world who, you know,
I don't think they care about the monetary lifeblood of Ukraine in terms of benefits and everything else. But to answer what you were talking about, we were on Jose Vega's show, and Jose Vega revealed that in Salvador, where he came from, his father was a military guy, and he was involved in military operations, I believe, in Salvador, his home country, back in the 80s. He's talking about not now, but back in the 80s.
Yeah. Shane Culkin with a $5 super sticker.
That's the other Culkin's brother, the Home Alone Culkin.
Might be. Shane is not home.
Right.
Jay's got an idea. He's saying the hacksaw would work well to remove the
hands.
Okay.
Now we're getting somewhere. How about a laser? How about just lasering the hands?
Yeah, that because we don't. They've already thrown tomatoes. So we don't need more blood. Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Good point. I don't know. I think the cloak of decency is the way to go.
Okay, Mark, tell us of all the other famous people that went to Bard College. We will in multiple episodes.
Well, Chevy Chase was there. The Beastie Boy kid was there. Adam Beastie. I think his father was a violinist, very famous violinist. But there's a lot of weird guys that went there. Michael Tolkien, who wrote The Player, was there. I didn't know him, but I didn't know Chevy Chase was there either.
Well, Chevy Chase was the drummer for Steely Dan.
Right. They were before me, though. They were before me. But yeah, a lot of weird people went there. It was like a fucked up school where if you had a wealthy family and you couldn't get into Harvard because you were a fuck up, the price was the same. So they sent you there. I mean, I was a blue collar kid.
Let me guess. So it's like Reed, it's like Reed College on the West Coast as Bard on the East.
I don't know about Reed, but Bard, which used to be St. Stephen's College in the 1800s, pretty old school, has a history of being linked to what's known as, I think, the Seven Sisters, which was, I don't remember them all, Goddard, Hampshire, Bennington, Vassar. These were 7 experimental. I don't know about Wesleyan. They were mostly on the northeast little thing there. Goddard, I mentioned. But anyway, they were these private, expensive colleges where they would send their screwed up kids to have no structure. I was not one of them. I had a scholarship and went there. My father was a grease monkey.
Yep, Wellesley.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. There are different weird people there. I mean, if you check their backgrounds, it was more interesting than who they were. You know what I mean? Like I had the guy who designed Central Park, his grandfather. That was kind of interesting. A bunch of friends had different backgrounds in their family lineage.
Cool. Let me go to locals for a bit. Where are we at? Oh, Karantov, Karantov, sent a $20 tip. Mark, take these coins and buy the book Hitler in Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Well, that's funny because my book pick of the week is The Nazis Next Door. It's funny you should mention that, by Eric Lichtblau, which is a good follow-up to our 2 episodes on Operation Paperclip. This is the Nazis actually living in New York and America and what happened to them over here. And they were next door to us. It's a great book. I highly recommend it, by Eric Lichtblau, How America Became a Safe Haven for Hitler's Men. So it kind of links to Operation Paperclip, Eric.
Yeah, for sure. Gary W.
And I'll just say that came from the book fund of people donating money on PayPal or Cash App or Venmo to me to get these books. So I just want to thank you for that. Yeah,
and people even mail it in too. I've actually forwarded a check that came in the mail to you, Mark.
Today. Is that true? Oh, far out. Yep. Part A, like it's 1999. Woof, 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 woof. Time to ring the bell of justice, Hunley. And subscribe.
Oh, there's my speedy reply.
The bell triggers that. I like that.
Well, we're getting there. We're going to be at 84,000 here, maybe by the end of the show. Who knows?
Oh, really? Boy, this is a long slog, but well worth it to get to the bright daylight of liberty on the other side
of a silver play button.
The silver play button of 100,000, which we'll put up in back of us at some point. I'm gonna put mine on my chest. With like
are you? I was going to say,
it's like the championship belt, Mr. LaMotta. The jewels of the belt, Mr. LaMotta. That's what's worth something.
I thought you were going to put it under. Itself. Would it be under or above the key to New Orleans?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe I'll replace the key to New Orleans with this. I'll move the key. The key's been there a long time. I haven't gone. I don't really go back to New Orleans that much because it's such a dangerous city. But the key, I don't know. You know, it unlocks something in New Orleans, according to the mayor who gave it to me.
Yeah. Back in the day. Gary W. sent a tip. Fight Club meets Boondock Saints.
I don't know what he's talking about, but 2 interesting movies. One directed by a guy around a bar in West LA, the Boondock Saints guy, who they were negotiating with this script, Boondock Saints, which turned out to be not a great movie, but it's a watchable movie, a Tarantino-like movie. I forget the name of the director, the writer-director. He did another one, Boondock Saints, too. But the writer-director worked in a bar as a bartender in West LA. And Harvey Weinstein, a.k.a. Harvey Scissorhands, a.k.a. the supposed rapist of Newsom's wife, who then kept accepting donations from Harvey Weinstein after she allegedly told her husband that Harvey had had his way with her. In the court case that was in L.A. a couple of weeks ago on Harvey Weinstein's fate, Newsom's wife showed up, the one who killed her own sister with a golf cart. But the bar that this guy worked in to get the script, because there was a bidding war to get this script by this screenwriter. God forbid that I was only involved in one bidding war in my life. And my agent from William Morris, who was on cocaine, bungled the bid. And it went from like $6 million to zero overnight. And he called me back and he said, I fucked it up. But this guy, who was a bartender, had the bar bought for him by Harvey Weinstein to get the script. The bar he was the bartender in, Weinstein bought it and gave it to him to get the script of Boondock Saints.
Oh, wow.
Now that's a producer, my friend.
Yeah.
And I still think the Obamas were involved in the takedown of Harvey Weinstein, because it begins with Malik Obama getting an internship at Weinstein's company. And she ends up, oddly enough, being a creditor or a debtor or a party of the lawsuit against Weinstein that's got 50 or 100 different, what's it called when you're not a debtor, party of a lawsuit. Her name is in there. And she was merely an intern at the company. Like, how does she get in on that as the Obamas? And I think this thing is just my hunch. I think this thing started with her employment at Weinstein's company here in LA.
That makes a ton of sense, because it'd have to be that level to get Harvey Weinstein, because
That's
he
where
was
it
tight
started.
with the Clintons. He was tight with the entire Democratic machine.
Yep.
Top fundraiser. So, good point.
Yeah.
Let me see. Ale House 20 sent a $10 tip. Grew up in the liberal bubble. Took almost 40 years to pop.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's what I was saying at the beginning. Yeah, like you just take these things for granted because that's why they tell you not to listen or watch anything on the other side, and you just don't know there's another side. I mean, it's just terrifyingly bizarre when you grow up. But it's such a big cult. I mean, it's you know what I mean. It's not a little cult. When you're in a little cult, the big world is out here. When you're in this thing, this is the big world, and the other thing's a little cult in their mind. You know what I mean? Like you have to leave the bubble or the cult to see what's going on the outside.
Right.
world.
Well, and the whole city is consumed by it. You're not going to see it until
it's an entire city. Right. And every relative, it's just like, it's so big, especially if you grow up in New York, or LA. It's just all around you. You're not going to bump into a discussion about anything offbeat,
right. And anytime the other comes up, it's to be mocked.
It's just mocked. It's not right. It's not even discussed.
A bunch of rednecks and hillbillies and stupid people or greedy corporatists or down the line.
Somebody put up a video today of this guy out in Venice, California, who was wandering the beach, yelling and screaming. He was on the boardwalk there. He's just a guy with no shirt, huge black guy, no shirt on, maybe 6'5", 270 pounds, very threatening. So they sent these ambassadors, 7 police cars, 8 policemen, the ambassadors roaming around who are sociologists, and they filmed the whole thing. And it's fascinating how much manpower is involved. They sit him down at a table. He's obviously deranged. He's obviously just ranting and raving. And at the end of the day, at the end of the video, they all just drive away, leaving them there to rant and rave for the rest of the day. And this was the entire new project at work that the mayor has created, where they not only send LAPD because they have to back up the social workers, which they call ambassadors, who go and discuss with you your situation, right? So they discuss with a madman what his problems are while he's screaming and yelling half naked with no shoes in Venice, and then eventually leave. And I'm thinking to myself, they only have 131,000 more to do because this guy is just one of many. And
but what about tomorrow when he's doing it again?
Right, but they left. I'm saying nothing happened.
That's
nothing happened.
There's no use.
Not tomorrow, tonight, right now.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So it's useless because literally.
Right, but here it was filmed. It's on Twitter. It was filmed, the entire thing in action. You got to see the entire program, how it doesn't work, as everybody thought it wouldn't work. Beautifully not working.
The beauty is that the people will be reporting what a success it was. Even watching it.
Well, he didn't kill them, so maybe it was a success.
Oh, well, there you go.
He looks like a cannibal.
Filament sent a tip. I have criticized Mark for complaining about his constant statement, I do not support Trump. I have to say, I am sick of hearing Taibbi continuously.
That's all I'm saying. Let me explain this to you.
Taibbi.
Right. I'm not knocking Taibbi's journalistic skills. I'm merely saying that thing drives me crazy and I'm over it. People going, how could you criticize Taibbi? I'm not. I didn't like his book about media. I thought it was very weak.
His writing's a little.
It's soft as shit, bro. It's soft as shit. Let me just say that as a journalist. The book is soft. But again, I'm not begrudging him going through the Twitter files or anything else that he did. I just can't take his automatic, robotic denunciation of a Zig Heil of a Trump hater. That's all. Whether you support him or not, it's annoying.
Right. He has done good journalistic work. Nobody's questioning that.
Right.
But Frascaf sent best stuff on media. I'm old. I'm Canadian. I know these things.
Wow. The old Canuck. There he is, my friend. The old Gordie Howe loving, Gordie Howe donut loving. What's the name of that donut place up there, bro?
God. It's a hockey player.
It's a hockey player, right?
Yeah, the chat will have to come in, but because it just left my brain.
Well, I got turned on to fried bologna sandwiches in Montreal one time many years ago, and it is
Tim Hortons,
yeah.
Without the apostrophe. Oh yeah, God! By the way, somebody got so upset that they left locals and let me know because I had talked about how David was mentioning the case of the we were talking about the language police and the French and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd mentioned about the OZ symbol, and they got so mad that we were disparaging the French. And I want to clarify on that I'm not disparaging people who speak French only and grew up in Quebec. I get it that there are people who never learned English, and I'm not trying to put down a colony, but I think a language police can take things far. So
they have. There's been all kinds of crazy stories up there about that. That's not a made up story. I mean, there's been all kinds of crazy battles.
And I do understand the idea of wanting to preserve a language and protect the language as much as possible, but there has to be.
Well, why don't you go and wrap your arms around the QLF, the Quebec Liberation Front, who were there, Weather Underground in the 70s, and explain their brutal tactics. Go talk to the QLF about language police, bro.
Yeah, I was blown away by
the Taliban in Montreal.
But anyway, it's crazy. Hey, don't sue me. Locals has an idea.
What?
Instead of the backpacks, or in addition, is it time to prevent people with purple/green/pink hair from entering museums?
Well, that's a troublesome thing. But I mean, at the minimum, you could have them check their backpack in a little locker. I mean, for the love of, I mean, they had that at the Norton Museum.
I think it was a decent joke, dude.
Right. No, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, what he's talking about, do you profile? Mm-hmm. Do you profile? I mean, it's not that outrageous a question. I mean, we profile all the time. But I think in answer to that, I think you have to start by at least checking your bag. I mean, at a minimum. At a minimum.
Yeah, or just make things difficult. Tackle them, handcuff them, drag them out.
Do you have any soup or glue on you? And I mean super glue and soup in your bag? Yes, I do. Okay, well, you can't bring in the soup. Because keep in mind, that can of
no soup for you.
That can of soup was opened. They didn't stand there with a can opener, bro.
Right.
They had open cans of tomato sauce.
Right. There's no eating, no drinking in most of these places anyway.
Eric, you can't. Yeah. I just went, like I said, I just went to a museum where you couldn't bring anything in.
Sure.
Okay. That it seems to be a bridge too far for many of these leftist-run museums.
Right. I mean, they have lockers at places.
Yeah, they have lockers where I went. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I don't know what because that makes me think they really don't want to.
What about just art dogs that go around sniffing to see what you got in your bag? The art dog who comes in and just goes after them, Hunley, and just all of a sudden knows you got tomato sauce in here. Roof, roof.
I don't know, but that makes me think: is there a hero of the blues?
I forgot about that. Okay, thanks for reminding me, because forget about what Hunley was saying. What his sponsor was. Today's sponsor is Heroes of the Blues, and today's blues artist is Ramblin' Thomas, one of the great blues artists of all time. Ramblin' Thomas, Willard Ramblin' Thomas was born in 1902 in and around Logansport, Louisiana. Self-taught guitarist. He played in Shreveport, a city I've been to. I love Shreveport, great food, and Oklahoma before his discovery in Dallas. Between 1928 and 1932, he recorded 18 albums, most of them in the idiom of a street performer. His colorful lyrics and free phrasing pattern invite comparison to Blind Lemon Jefferson. He died in Memphis in the 1930s, survived by his blues-playing brother, Babyface Thomas, who may be a hero of the blues later. But today is Ramblin' Thomas, hero of the blues.
Well, you may have your thing going on, Mark, but I've got my thing going on.
Well, I don't have any money linked to mine. I'm just
I get things in the mail, and so I'm going to be putting up some posters later on.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good one. That's a good one.
And then hold on, when I'm done, I might go visit my friend Jack Ruby at the Carousel.
That's a good one. Yeah, he used to give that card out to everybody. Every cop he saw, everyone on the street would get that. He was giving out that card, Jack Ruby, at the press conference on Friday night. When the world press descended on Dallas Police Headquarters, Jack Ruby was giving out that carousel card saying, "Come to," even though he closed the club. But even Milt Pappas? Milt Pappas was a pitcher. Ike Pappas, the guy who was there commenting during the assassination, the reporter that you see with the microphone on camera, that's Ike Pappas, CBS News. He was given a card by Jack Ruby that weekend to come to the Carousel Club. The local people knew it. Local reporters knew what it was. The out-of-town reporters didn't know what to make of it.
Right. Well, and I just wanted to share that. I've got to figure out who it was that put them together, but a person is creating miniature posters and the cards. They sent it to us. I will try to remember, put it in the description if anybody wants to check it out.
What?
I think they were kind of cool.
What?
Literally, they were this was sent to me by someone who was making reproductions of the posters.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah.
I think it's kind of a cool deal.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So,
I mean, those exist. I mean, you can get them. They do. There are some left around.
oh yeah, the original you're going
ones,
to pay good money, I'm sure.
Right, but I'm saying there were so many of them passed out that they do exist. People do have those, and it may have some help on the part of Lee had to get help, and he brought in a guy named Ted Cruz's father to help him pass those out. And you see Ted Cruz's father in some of the photos in New Orleans when Oswald's passing out those flyers. Ted Cruz's father's right there too. Not that he killed the president, but he was an intelligence operative out of Cuba himself, who ends up in Canada and then eventually in Dallas, or in his case, Houston.
Trump made some hay out of that.
Yeah, he exaggerated it a little bit, but brilliantly funny what he did. But they're the Inquirer, my old employers, David Pecker, one of the great names.
Perfect names, yeah.
Pecker. Broke the story of Ted Cruz's father working with Lee Harvey Oswald to pass out those flyers.
I only wish that David Pecker had broken the Anthony Weiner story.
Pecker talks about Weiner. Well, he does move to New York eventually, Pecker, because of the Bush versus Pecker is about as close as you're going to get, Eric, because Jeb Bush went to war with David Pecker over the anthrax building. When I showed up to work for Pecker, as the editor of the Weekly World News, which is a comedy publication.
Which we did an episode on, folks.
We did an episode on that. It was right after the anthrax was sent in the mail to various people, one of them being the photo editor of National Enquirer, who opened it up and was killed. So the photo building, which is on the premises or was in Florida, in Delray Beach, was taped off with police tape, and Pecker had asked Jeb Bush to help him to offset the cost to bring in a cleaning crew, a hazmat crew, and Jeb Bush told him to go fuck himself, and he eventually sold the building. It was bought by Giuliani, who started a new security company, and said thank you very much. He bought it for like 2 cents, and Pecker eventually carried out his threat to Jeb Bush and moved his company AMI to New York, and there was an economic penalty that Jeb Bush had to pay for that skullduggery involved with the building itself and getting it to Rudy Giuliani. Very interestingly bizarre story.
Yeah,
but working in AMI was very interesting for me because of Bat Boy and some of the other things I had to do with that publication.
Oh, for sure. We might actually.
But do we have an episode on Weekly World News or no?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
We have an episode on that.
All right.
We have one Rumble rant. Woohoo! Right. Escape Hamster wants to know David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar.
I'm not a fan of either one. Not my type of thing.
Yeah,
it's not my thing. But he did Hot for Teacher, didn't he? Didn't David Lee Roth do that? Or
yeah, he was the original Van Halen singer. I
right, yeah. He was an interesting talent. Let me put it that way.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah. I mean, but at his peak.
Yeah, he's very athletic.
Yeah. He was quite the front man. Not to degrade him at all, but David Lee Roth was an amazing front man of a band that I wasn't a big fan of, but nevertheless, amazing talent.
Sure, absolutely. Bromian with £2. Thank you very much. Maho, I don't know these girls that did that tomato soup thing identify as they, them. Wow. PDB had them on for a call in an episode. What? Damn, wow. Patrick Bet David is really
he's really deep into the state stuff, huh?
Or something, yeah. He gets all the mob figures.
You don't get that unless you're connected to something. You don't get that. You got to be connected to something.
It is very interesting. Michael, keep fighting the fight, guys. Thank you very much. Laura Williams.
Who are those two people?
Thank you.
Oh, it's her and her husband or something. A lot of times,
or son.
Yeah, a lot of
Husband,
times there's
son?
two
Don't know.
people in these things. I find interesting who the two people are because one may be opposed to the move and not know the other one's making that move.
You never know.
Or they're Siamese twins.
True. Bromine again with 2 more pounds. Thank you.
Bro, he thought it over. He said, "You know what? I found another deuce. I'm good."
You know what? Bromine again with 2
Look,
pounds.
Bromian back again. Go Bromian. He's on a deuce roll.
Hold on.
Oh,
Bromian again.
Bromian, look at him. Trips. He's got triple deuces, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on.
No, he's
Bromian.
got a full house. He's got a 4 of a kind. Bromian stretching it out for the major league lead.
Thank you
Wow,
very much.
comes out of England with multiple deuces.
I'm telling you.
Wow, time to ring the bell.
Excited dose.
Purchased by Graham Parsons, given to Leon. Okay. Halfway through the tour, Leon discovered the lining. Leon also played Strangers in the Night for Frank Sinatra. I don't know about that. Leon was a beast. That is true. Yeah, big first concert I ever went to. I lost my job at the deli at Wallbaum's and because I'd gone to a Leon Russell concert, but I covered it as editor of the school. I was a music editor of the school newspaper in Amityville. And so I did write a music review about Leon Russell's appearance at Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. I think that was not my first rock concert, but it was my first stadium concert because I'd been to Woodstock, which was a big thing outdoors. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but that being in a building, I was supposed to work at the deli in Wallbaum's, a delicatessen inside the supermarket, and I left and lost my job over it. No regrets.
Well, continuing with this theme.
Oh,
Mad
that's a great. Yeah, the DVD is available. Fantastic DVD.
They drove through Dealey Plaza in Dallas with Joe Cocker.
That's bizarre. Yeah, they released like a 4-night CD of 4. I think it's 4 nights, 4 different shows, which I have. It's kind of amazing.
Awesome. Linda Solinsky, $3 super sticker. Thank you.
Solinsky's daughter. She just changed the Z to S, try to Americanize herself. But we're on to you, Linda.
Bobby Broncos. I am Jesuit trained, Jesuit educated, Jesuit employed. Bingo, Mark.
Okay, well, people do know what I'm talking about. I didn't make this up. People do know.
The Real Terry, question for you both. What characteristics do you admire in each other?
Wow.
Without going warm and fuzzy, touchy-feely.
Cried together on a show. Me and Hunley broke down crying in one show, The Box of Dreams, Eric.
Yeah.
That was a moment. We go back and look at that Box of Broken Dreams episode. You see 2 men crying, 2 men weeping.
Yes, Marcus, a son of a bitch.
I got Hunley to cry on camera.
Oh my God.
That was a tough day.
Pat M, thanks. And Treasure Hunter 100. Eric, the price of success is losing a few followers. We all cannot be the same. Yeah.
Who cares? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we don't look. We just call it as we see it. I mean, so many people have left us over the year, right? There have been people who bolted over the craziest weird thing, like you would never think of it.
Well, here's another one. Occasionally, we might say like GD or
There's that.
Right, it's not an intentional thing.
No. It's a semantical thing. It's a jargon thing. Yeah.
And we don't try to do it. It's kind of an accidental, like we're just caught up in the moment, but we don't mean any disrespect.
That's for sure. That's for damn sure. God damn
thanks a lot, you son of a bitch. John Kirsch, keep up the good work. Thank you,
John.
Michael Chambers, thank you very much.
Whoa, Michelle, that's what's her name? Chambers from Michael Chambers, yeah.
Sergeant Willie, Mark, those sub-mock machine guns in Italy are Berettas, not Uzis.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're not gun experts. No gun experts.
Thank you. For $5, was that worth it, bro? Yeah. The Berettas. Oh, thank God.
Well, thank you.
I didn't ask to inspect them. I just stayed away from them. Hey, are those Uzis, bro? Come here. Let me take a look at that.
1999 super sticker. Thank you very much. Pinochet's helicopter tour. Still one of my favorite.
Don't laugh
names.
about the title because some guy wrote us. He freaked out that we were laughing about the guy's title because he said his father was thrown out of one of Pinochet's helicopters in Chile. So we can't laugh about the title, but what am I going to say?
Okay.
Right.
Have you read The Devil's Chessboard?
Of course.
David Talbot is a raging leftist, but his work tracking Dulles to World War II makes paperclip look lame.
Well, that doesn't make paperclip look tame, but it's a good book. And Talbot also wrote, I think he wrote Brothers, and I don't know about raging leftist. I think he was editor of the San Francisco Chronicle at one point. But yeah, it's a good book. It's a very good book. Yeah. And
Jake Bernal may have been the one who sent these. I don't remember. I have to go through the emails.
Oh, the twist board. Yeah. Weight loss device to send to you, but couldn't find an original. Yeah, they are out there. People have written to us that they do have them. It's called a twist board. And some people said it worked. You just do the twist on this square board that's on springs.
Well, if you're exercising previously, then possible.
It can work. I mean, did anybody play Twister back then? I mean, I played Twister. I don't know. There's people at home who know what Twister is. It's not the twist board, but Twister the game is.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, right? You put your hand
with multiple people, and it gets,
right,
and it gets into
right. So it's good to play Twister naked with oil on your body.
I know. I was going to avoid that.
No. I mean, that's how you play Twister. I mean, everybody knows that.
Oh, Machiavelli sucks to go.
People, I think they're dead. Whoever did it is not alive.
What punishment?
I don't know. I don't know who to go after.
I don't know. Well, I guess they're being punished.
I don't think they're living
right
now, but
I'm sure they found something for them in hell.
Naming them would be a good start. So, I mean, but you can't blame their relatives. I mean, they didn't do it.
True. Laura Williams.
My son and me. Thank you, Laura. That's funny. I didn't know what it was. Thank you.
So they're definitely going the same direction.
Right. That's funny.
All right. Well, that works through all the super chats, all the tips, all the rants. And
it's like a last call, Hunley. We're at the bar.
It's the last call.
Well, they're just going to send in super chats.
The Oswald.
No, it's the last call for super chats. Hunley saying, you just want a gin and tonic. You should see the last call at the bar I used to go to. The people go like, give me 22 gin and tonics. Give me, they'd order like 22, whatever they were drinking. Because in New York, you can drink at 4:00. The bar closes. So right before 4:00, whatever you order, you're allowed to sit there and finish. You just can't keep ordering after 4.
So they order 10 drinks to cover you.
Not 10. They'd order like 30, drinks. And then you could sit till 6:00 in the morning because they lock the door and they just can't, you just can't serve you, but you'd already have your drinks.
All right. Well, and BTK is shocked that there's cursing here. And so is Oswald.
Yeah.
We got to protect the dog's ears. And folks, you can. And that really bothers Oswald. He's freaking out now. He's going to have to attack with a Groubert. Anyway, folks, if you want an Oswald of your own,
right,
you can always look in the description below for the merch link. And there's Oswald's available. It's the most popular item that we have in the Americas.
More than the hat? More than the hat?
More than the hat. And then, of course,
more than the sweatshirt?
Well, we have a link to Ziggy Shrugs. So you can also be Team Oswald.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great one.
And there's all kinds of different glasses. By the way, there's a brand new glass that will be available.
What?
Yes, blocked by Lord Buckley. And it's going to be a square glass.
Is there one called Come On, Bobby?
Yes, there is a Come On, Bobby, too.
Oh, my God. This is crazy.
But how do you say that?
Come on, Bobby.
There's
so many. What's this? Oh, yeah. Apologies. I despise the CIA opinion. Yeah, no, I got that. Of course. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and I think it's a good name. I mean,
it's just that this guy's father, according to him, was one of the victims of the helicopter
assassinations.
Yeah. So, wow. It's interesting. But yeah, if anybody wants to donate to the book fund, it's a PayPal. You don't like PayPal. There's Venmo. You don't like Venmo. There's Cash App. You don't like Cash App. There's Hunley's post office box, which apparently people do utilize.
And we appreciate everything.
What was that book we stumbled onto where the Kindle was $112?
The McKinley book.
Oh, the McKinley book. I couldn't even get that goddamn book. Now I'm wondering what the hell's in there. Yeah, it's haunting me at night because the book was so freaking expensive and the Kindle was $112.
Yeah, the Kindle costed more than the hardcover.
Right, by a couple of bucks.
Well, it was 101 for the hardcover, 112 or 15 for the Kindle. So a good bit more.
Wow.
It was a Kindle book more than the freaking book.
Wow.
Pat M. Last call. I've seen the saved paneling from the cabin, JFK and Monroe romance at Lake Tahoe. Why not talk about Calnava or whatever, Nava, Sam Giancana and JFK?
Well, I'll tell you why, because I don't like to give any more weight to what the CIA would like us to think, that the mob was involved in the killing of JFK. That's one reason. So the Giancana thing, I mean, the sharing, we talked about the women that they shared. I mean, we covered that in one of the episodes, and I mean, there are overlaps in the worlds, but I just don't want to give any oxygen to the CIA's preferred pronoun, which is the mafia killed JFK. So I try to stay away from that. There's plenty of that out there already for me to not add on anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you've got Jefferson Morley or Mosley, whatever the guy's name is.
Oh, Jefferson Morley, yeah. Well, just so I know, so Hunley knows, and you people now know, on Tuesday coming, we're going to do, ready?
Ooh.
Michael Payne.
Oh, nice.
By himself. Michael Payne. Not Ruth Payne. Michael Payne.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So his boss is going to come up, and lots of good stuff. Some Bell helicopter action. Okay.
Yeah, Robert Payne, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, is going to come up.
How about Thomas Paine? Is he related?
Not related. No, it's Robert Payne.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Well, that's right. Payne was a Y-N-E, and he's I-N-E. Okay, sorry. Bob Ruhlman, with the state of the country, a few swear words are bound to come out each show. Can't wait for Oswald episodes. We have many questions for you.
Wow.
Sure. We'll have more JFK Q&As.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to take JFK up until November 22nd.
Probably even beyond. I have a feeling.
Okay.
I mean, we may start the Oswald on that. I don't know. Depending on, there's so many characters. And Jimbo, $10. Thank you very much.
I don't know why. Yeah, Michael Payne just seemed like appropriate for some reason. Well, he died a couple of years ago, so he's dead. But I think he died in 2019 or something. But
but he was in the movie.
He was in Max Good's movie, right?
He was, yeah. And look at this, Mark Gayson coming in hot.
Gayson going mad dog Gayson, as they call him.
I'm telling you, under the wire.
Just paying down my tuition for all the amazing. Now that's funny, Gayson. I like that. And he spells Mark the correct way, so that's good. Is it Gayson or Gayson? When it gets into Michael Tolkien's book, the Coen brothers movie, there is a producer that they keep saying Gayson or Gayson is one of the running jokes in the movie.
Yeah,
Geisler or Geisler. Take that back. That back. Yeah. And Barton Fink. It's one of the running jokes in Barton Fink.
Okay, that's like Weinstein and Weinstein.
Right, but that's not a running joke in a pop culture movie.
No, I know. I'm just
okay. But written by a guy named Michael Tolkien, I think, who wrote The Player. Let me just take that back. He didn't write Barton Fink. He wrote The Player, which has similar comic things in it. I recommend both those films. Barton Fink and The Player, which have some overlaps to them.
All right. Thomas Jolly coming in.
Thank you very
much.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Boy, a lot of people we know got hit hard this week by YouTube, huh?
Well, I mean, you have Jose, and then
this has been a vicious week of demonetization. I think all of a sudden they wake up, they hire more people, and they double down or something.
Dude, I've got 2 strikes on TikTok, for God's sake now. I mean,
really?
Yeah. What was it? I literally got another strike on TikTok. This is doing shorts for covering Rose Montoya being banned by the White House.
Interesting.
I literally reported.
They want that to go away.
But supposedly because I reported it, it was hate against her. So that was a community strike violation.
Wow.
Video removed.
Technical foul, number 23.
It's just
Eric
disgusting.
Hunley, number 23.
Yeah, whatever. Machiavelli sucks to go again.
Jim Garrison was a badass. Yeah, he definitely was a badass. I mean, the amount of stuff that they threw at Jim Garrison, anytime I hear the disparagement of Jim Garrison, I just go fuck yourself.
Oh, there's a guy right now who's dedicated his whole life to it. He's coming out. He's a gay Republican. And his whole point of being. He's got a website. It's a total
right.
lone shoot, lone nut, and Jim Carrison is the most evil man on the planet combination, essentially.
I hope they pay you enough every month from the CIA to keep the website going. I really do. Because the guy's an American hero. Everybody knows that, who knows anything. I mean, the amount of destruction that they tried to throw at this guy, who was a war hero and a multiple elected government official, then becoming a judge, getting reelected as a judge in Louisiana, and the amount of stuff and the amount of damage he did because of that trial has just tortured the CIA for decades because of the amount of stuff that was revealed through Garrison, including eventually the release of the Zapruder film on the Geraldo Tonight Show, which came out of the Garrison case because the guy who released the film was the projectionist in the Clay Shore trial who made a copy of it.
He was still around. We should try reaching out to him.
To Groden, to Robert Groden. He is a film. Groden's still alive. He'll probably be in Dallas at the 60th. But Groden made a copy of the film that they subpoenaed from Time Life. Time Life honored the subpoena, turned over the copy of the Zapruder film, which was shown in the trial of Clay Shaw, which is why the trial is so important, even though he lost in the conviction. Clay Shaw perjured himself on the stand multiple times. But the beauty of it is that Robert Groden, copied the film, and later it was shown to the American people for the first time on ABC, on Geraldo show.
Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory was another guest. Dick Gregory was involved in exploring the assassination as one of the people who spread the word that there was nefarious things going on with it.
All right.
Gregory was a political comic, but he got into the assassination pretty deeply.
All right, Harold, not to beat a dead horse, but thanks for your incredible episode on Billy Saul Estes. Great job you guys are doing.
Yeah, they were asking us for Billy Saul Estes, so we gave him Billy Saul Estes. So what are you crying about now? You got your Billy Saul Estes, didn't you?
Hey, it's Bromian coming back.
Bromian, dude, this guy found another deuce somewhere in his cottage outside of London and gave it to us.
Which we do appreciate. Harold, $2 more. Thank you.
Who's Harold? Oh, there he is. There's a picture.
Harold just thanked us for Billy Saul.
Oh, I see. Thank you. I'm sorry.
BTK, Burisma exec who exposed the Bidens, was found dead.
Yeah, I saw that. I wonder what the cause. It seemed a little stretchy. I don't know what the cause of death was or what. I didn't understand the whole article. Maybe more will come out about it. But death is a solution to some problems sometimes.
Last super chat. Horace,
you should use Oswald in the ad. Which ad?
Well, maybe Aura. And by the way, folks, I don't know how to put Oswald in that ad, but it does help us out a lot to check out the sponsors. It is a good sponsor. I did use them. They gave me a version. I tried it out. Kind of freaky because when I transfer money, for example, to Mark or whatever, all of a sudden I'm getting alerts hitting me that there was
alert.
And I'm like, whoa. Ooh,
those alerts go directly to Aura headquarters. Right.
Yeah, no, it's kind of nice to see that there. And then I found out, oh, great. My name is listed like 25 companies who, literally I counted them, who do nothing but put you on mailing lists of spam.
Right. I'm getting off of those companies. I'm going to use Aura to get off of that.
Dude, it's probably worth it just to even do it.
Really quick.
Buy it for a while and, do it because it's horrible. And I'm not kidding. I used to get 100 emails a day. I'm probably at 300 or 400 a day now. It's sickening. I'll finish the show and I'll have 60 emails. I'm just like, delete.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is officially the last call. Last call. The amazing Blumpkin. I can make this up. Bell of Freedom, please.
There it is.
Thank you very much. And yes, it does help us a ton. Please subscribe. And that's free.
What are you saying, Hunley? What is it? Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, Hunley. Come on.
And you can always follow us on Locals.
I'm at Lord Buckley. If you want to follow me, possibly get blocked, which would be a great thing to tell your grandchildren.
And then you could buy the glass, and
you can buy the glass, and you're part of the whole operation.
Exactly.
I got blocked by Lord Buckley, and all I got was this stupid glass.
Yeah, and I had to pay for the glass. No, there's no respect whatsoever.
I don't got respect. I don't got respect at all.
You're definitely not giving any. Anyway, unstructured.locals.com. You can follow us for free. You don't have to, you don't have to pay anything. There's a lot of material that's there all the time being posted. Love to see you there. It does help a great deal.
Oh, plus, yeah. If you join the private organization, you get all kinds of private secret documents, which is Locals. And people go, what is Locals? What the hell? That's what I thought originally. And then Hunley explained it to me. And it's a private secret free speech platform where you come on and we talk to you intimately about your personal problems, or you post political stuff, and you're part of a secret society. All these people go, hey, what about Skull and Bones? How about Locals, bro? Forget about Skull and Bones. They're not going to let you in. We'll let you in for $5 a month. You could be part of Locals, which is our Skull and Bones. Skull is Hunley, I'm Bones, Skull and Bones. That's what we're trying to do with Locals. Get in now before we close the door, because we're not going to let everybody in. It's going to be a private club, $5 a month. It's not for the rest of the country. We're going to cut it off at some point when the membership grows too large. So if I was you, and I'm not you, so I don't care what you do, but if I was you, I would take $5 stinking and join Locals every month and get all the secret information on the Kennedy killing, the documents, everything else. Don't waste your life looking on YouTube and the internet. You're not going to find it.
Right. And on that note, since you could join it for free, it doesn't matter anyway.
Well, you're still not getting those secret documents for free. Despite Hunley's promises, you can come on there, you can look around, you can say, hey, it's kind of interesting. Unless you become a secret member of the secret society, you're not getting the secrets. I'm just going to be blunt and tell you right up front. There are secrets on there, and you're not getting them unless it's $5 a month.
He's holding them all to it. So on that note, folks, we will see you next Tuesday for Michael Payne.
Okay.